Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, October 6, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather look. And we can see that as of their latest update that just came out at 7:56 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:56 p.m. Jamaica time, so almost 30 minutes ago, we can see that we now have Hurricane Milton across the western Gulf of Mexico. We still have Hurricane Kirk right there to the west of the Azores Islands. We still have Hurricane Leslie right there across the central portions of the main development region. And to the east of Leslie, we still have that area that has a low chance of development. Still hasn't come off of Africa as yet though, but it should develop and possibly head towards the northwest. If we take a look at the wide infrared satellite images, we can make out all of these systems. We have Hurricane Milton right there. We can see the clouds associated with Hurricane Kirk right here. The clouds associated with Hurricane Leslie right here across the main development region. And the clouds associated with what's to come off of Africa and possibly move towards the northwest and develop. If we focus our attention on Hurricane Milton, we can see that as of right now, Milton is moving towards the east at 7 miles per hour. He's packing maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. So that makes him a medium range category 1 hurricane at this time. We know that category 1 hurricanes basically pack winds of 74 to 95 miles per hour. So it's right there in the middle. We can see that it is expected to continue moving eastward, maybe even slightly east-southeastward. Then becoming an M, we know an M represents major hurricane status. By about 1 p.m. on Monday, it could even be sooner than that. And it's expected to start moving towards the northeast, towards the Florida Peninsula right there. And we can see Milton right here, the close-up, showing the spin associated with the system around the center. Definitely small, lots of high code cloud tops. The greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, the blacks, the purples, that represents a deep convection. Trying to get an eye forming somewhere in here with the CDO around it as it moves towards the east. And it's definitely going to be crossing over that island right there to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula. Hopefully there are not that much people out there at the time. Hopefully evacuations are taking place as we speak. If we take a look at the information here regarding the tropical storm force winds probability, we know all of this represents where tropical storm force winds are going to be expected, just the chances, and we see definitely a 90% chance of the tropical storm force winds across the island. That's to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula, and then definitely heading to the northeast towards Florida, where there is a 70 to 80% chance of it actually taking place. And this is just going to be getting even more robust the closer the system gets to Florida. Even more than tropical storm force winds are going to be expected when it gets there. And it's not only the winds but the hurricane rainfall rates. And we know all of this rainfall is spinning around the center. So it's definitely going to be causing even more rainfall, piling up over the same areas that are already being nailed as we speak by rainfall. Look at all of the greens, the yellows, the oranges, the reds. That represents anywhere from 1 all the way up to the 12-inch of rainfall range coming into Tampa, Orlando. If you have relatives or friends in these areas, please get in touch with them today. Flash flooding is definitely possible. Don't want to hear any bad news coming out of Florida with any relatives of Jamaicans being washed away. And we know with the hurricane coming, the strong winds are going to be a problem. So power outages and loss of communication could be a thing. So contact them today just in case they are affected. We know the power outages can be ridiculous. Hopefully it's not a case where they're without power for weeks or anything like that. If we focus our attention on Hurricane Kirk, as of right now, he's packing maximum sustained wind of 85 miles per hour. So him and Milton are basically on the same page. Remember, Kirk was a major hurricane last week. As of right now, back to category 1 strength, and he's moving right now to the northeast at 23 miles per hour. Should continue and then switch gears and push towards more so to the northeast, then to the east, downgrading back to a S that we know represents tropical storm status by 2 a.m. on Tuesday, and then headed straight for France in general. And we can see England right there to the north of France. So they're definitely going to be getting nailed. We might just see tropical storm watches or warnings being put up as early as Tuesday, or if not, maybe Monday for those areas. We know that there are a lot of Jamaicans who work over there or live there in France or even in England. So they're definitely going to be getting in on some of that. We don't normally get systems still maintaining their tropical characteristics by the time they get to Europe. Usually they are more subtropical, mixing with those upper level lows and troughs in general. But it looks like Kirk is going to be maintaining its tropical storm status by the time it gets to Europe on Wednesday. And we can see the clouds associated with Kirk right here. Definitely heavily weighted on the northern portions of the system, definitely being sheared to the north, with the least amount of deep convection on the south side of the system as it quickly pushes towards the north and east. If we take a look at the very latest regarding Hurricane Leslie, we can see that as of right now, she's packing maximum sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. So as of right now, she is the strongest system out in the Atlantic. If we look at the stats, that makes her category 1, yes, but at least she's packing at least 5 more miles per hour winds than the 85 that both Kirk and Milton are packing. So definitely higher and closer to category 2 strength than the others. And we can see that she is moving towards the northwest at 9 miles per hour, where she's expected to downgrade back to an S that represents tropical storm status as early as 2 a.m. on Tuesday. And we see that she's definitely not going to be affecting land or anyone at all, but she kind of looks like she might just go straight for Bermuda. Hopefully it's a case where it turns out to sea and misses them. We don't want to get any more systems. They already got a system earlier this year. And we can see the clouds associated with Leslie right here, definitely spinning around that center with all of the deep convection quickly, with the reds, the blacks in there as well, and the high cold cloud tops. All of these cumulonimbus clouds, the greens, the yellows, all of that pushing towards the northwest as we speak. If we take a closer look at what's happening regarding that system closer to Africa, let's read what they stated in their discussion. A tropical wave is expected to move off the west coast of Africa in a few days. Thereafter, environmental conditions appear only marginally favorable for some development of this system while it moves westward or west-northwestward across the eastern tropical Atlantic. This system is expected to move near or over the Cabo Verde Islands on Wednesday and Thursday, and interest there should monitor its progress. And with that, they've given it a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 30% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. Who knows, it might just be bumped up to a code orange and maybe even to a code red, and then possibly acquire the name. The next name on the list is Nadine, followed by Oscar. And I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with whatever takes place. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can make out all of the isobars associated with these systems. We have Kirk right there, we have Leslie right here. We can also see an area of low pressure right there to the southwest of Kirk. As a matter of fact, models are picking up on something forming as soon as maybe middle of this week, somewhere in this spot. So who knows, maybe this era might get the name Nadine, if not Oscar. We'll see how that goes. Models are also picking up on something else forming in the Western Caribbean, maybe after the next 7 days. We'll see how that goes as well if the U.S. National Hurricane Center puts a code orange out there. As of right now, the latest visible satellite images confirming what we just saw on the surface map. We have Milton off screen right there across the Gulf of Mexico. We have Kirk right there pushing off screen to the northern portion of North Atlantic. And we have Leslie right here. Not to mention the clouds associated with the tropical wave trying to come off of Africa to push towards the northwest and then possibly develop. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, October 6, 2024. It was stated that parts of eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica would have received some afternoon rainfall. And if you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted the fact that with the northeasterly flow across the island, we couldn't rule out some rainfall, some morning rainfall at that, affecting section of some northeastern parishes, and that was exactly what took place. But first, before I show you, let's refresh our memory on the various parishes across Jamaica. We know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Our western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? Just like what we stated in yesterday's video, the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted highlighting rainfall across northeastern parishes in Jamaica. And by the way, keep in mind that these posts are made not only on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at Weather.Jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted a little after midnight, highlighting the greens and the yellows that we know represent some moderate to heavy rainfall, definitely lashing portions of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, and even eastern portions of St. Thomas got in on some moderate to heavy rainfall at that time. And then, as the day progressed, at around 12:51 p.m., we started to see some clouds building on the visible satellite image. We definitely had some rainfall in my portion of St. Thomas again this afternoon. Definitely woke me up out of my sleep. I heard the rainfall outside. Even some thunder as well. And we even had some rainfall right there at that time across portions of southwestern Portland, southeastern St. Mary, section of northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, southern Trelawney, southern St. James, and Hanover as well. And then as the afternoon progressed at around 3:15 p.m. Eastern, Jamaica time, we can see the thunderstorms across the island that took place. And we know the thunderstorms are represented by the blues, the greens, the yellows, oranges, the reds. Not to mention the sparkling white dust that we know represents some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. So we definitely had the thunderstorm activity, especially across inland areas of the island. And we also saw what we predicted happen. The high cold cloud tops being sheared off towards the southwest, just as predicted, bringing more overcast skies, if not some rainfall, to portion of southern Jamaica as well. So that indeed confirms the rainfall that was predicted. Looking back at the visible satellite images, we can see it all even better. Not seeing a strong flow of the clouds, but we can make out some kind of movement from east to west here to northeast of the island, but we can definitely make out that cloud top movement from northeast to southwest to signal that upper level flow. And if we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite images, we definitely have the thunderstorms across those areas: eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica, section of western St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew, section of St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and then even Westmoreland got into some of the action. And the high cold clouds was being blown out towards the southwest. Definitely had some thunderstorms as well, even before the day was done, across portions of Clarendon and western St. Catherine too. And if we take a look at the live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing Flatbridge at around 2:27 p.m., it definitely highlighted the rainfall that was taking place at that time. Road is wet, cars moving by in and around the area, and definitely wet conditions. The river not that strong or in spate at all, but we can definitely see the wet roads, which we could see some vehicles passing and coming this way towards the camera, so that we can see that they definitely have their windshield wipers on. Well, I guess it's glitching now, so we're not seeing that much, but we definitely had some rainfall at that time around 2:29 p.m. And if we take a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map does indeed paint a picture of where we had that rainfall across the island today, across section of southwestern Portland, section of western St. Thomas, section of Kingston, St. Andrew, sections of southern St. Anne, southern Trelawney, section of northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, southern Trelawney, southern St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. Definitely got in on that rainfall for the most part. This map isn't 100% accurate or to scale, but it does paint quite the picture of where we had the rainfall today across the island. And we definitely have confirmation from some of our followers right here on our Twitter page. We have the Mova Vax stating rain in Portmore 3 hours ago. Even on our Facebook page, we had Sylvia Bando stating it was raining earlier in St. Anne. Even on our Instagram page, we had official _ Janae stating lightning and thunder in Stony Hill. And then finally TT _ Goodin stating raining in Kingston. Rose.b.w stating Portmore got some. If we take a look at the very latest infrared satellite image of Jamaica, so we're going to be looking at the very latest still image that just came out at 25 minutes past the hour. So that is right about 7:25 p.m. That's what, 12 minutes ago. We can see that for the most part, most of the clouds have cleared out. Just some patches of whites here and there across the island. And we can see some thunderstorms right there to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. The blues, the greens, the sparkling white dots represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. And let's see if we can match it to what we're seeing on the Doppler radar images. Alright, so let's reload this so that we have the very latest. Alright, so the very latest looks like it just came out at 8:30 p.m. Jamaica time. Well, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Cuban time, which is actually 7:30 p.m. Jamaica time. We can definitely make out that rainfall to the southwest of St. Elizabeth. The greens, the yellows, that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall for sure happening right now as we speak. We can also see some rainfall right there to the west of Westmoreland, maybe affecting Negril, if not offshore. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing some greens representing rainfall across portions of Florida as well. Not Florida, Clarendon as well. So that could be why we're seeing that milky white shades right there across south central Jamaica. We'll see how that goes. And if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Naval Radar Station, not seeing much happening. Just some isolated showers here and there to the north of the radar station. Some rainfall across the western portions of Haiti. And that's just about it. If we take a look at the very latest Halfway Tree live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel. By the way, if you don't know by now, we have a partnership with this channel. They show live streams of Halfway Tree, the Kingston Harbor, the Panoramic View, Barbican, Crossroads, Flatbridge, you name it. And they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the Jamaica area. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. So we can see people in and around the halfway tree area at this time, 7:38 p.m. Jamaica time, standing, maybe waiting on vehicles, people going about their business, people in their vehicles going about their business. Definitely going to be a fair night tonight across the corporate area. And if you take a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look here at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18s on Monday when calculated. That's 1 p.m. on Monday, and we can see Jamaica right here for the most part, embedded in some slight yellow colors like what we see on the key on the right. That represents 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of October across Jamaica are about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, or when calculated, 89 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 31.6 degrees Celsius. So given the yellow or the 1 degree Celsius temperature rise tomorrow, we should be receiving anywhere from 31 to 32 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And we know the drill. Tips to beat the heat: dress down, wear light clothing and use sunscreen. Seek shade when you're outside. If you're walking on a side of the road that has a lot of sun, seek the side that has more of the cool shade, maybe the buildings blocking out the sun, if not the trees. And eat fresh fruits. You can't go wrong with fruits: watermelon, apples, grapes. And always stay hydrated even if you're not thirsty. I cannot stress this enough. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we can still see that much of the Caribbean, North America, South America, Central America still in the clear, as all the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be right there across the main development region. We can also see the curl associated with Hurricane Leslie, definitely ingesting some of that Saharan dust for sure. And as a matter of fact, it looks like some of this could be pushing westward to portions of the Eastern Caribbean maybe later this week. Definitely too close for comfort. We know the Saharan dust can cause hazy skies, trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people, whether it be asthma, sinusitis. Hopefully, by the time it gets to the Caribbean, if it gets to the Caribbean, it has dissipated. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that the least amount of waves should be across the Caribbean, in and around Jamaica as well. We see those lighter shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 to 1 meter wave height, while the highest wave heights are where we have the three systems. Look at the purples to the burgundy colors that represent anywhere from 2 to maybe even more than 9 meter wave heights or more, in and around Kirk to the north, in and around Leslie right there across the main development regions, in and around Milton right there across the Gulf of Mexico. So it all makes sense because the winds are going to be strongest where we have those systems. We see the bright greens, we see the yellows, we see the burgundies, and the other colors that represent anywhere from 15 all the way up to 60 plus knot winds, all the way up to hurricane status, in and around Kirk, in and around Leslie, in and around Milton. While across the Caribbean, we see more of those light shades of greens, and we see the flow kind of moving northward, all courtesy of Milton and what's taking place over there. We can also see that flow across the Eastern Caribbean, more so from the south, averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 knots for the most part. And if we take a closer look at Jamaica in terms of the winds tomorrow, we can definitely see that southerly flow even better on both the Euro and the GFS malls. So whatever comes off of the sea tomorrow could bring rainfall to southern Jamaica. And as usual, wherever we have the least amount of winds, that's where we're going to be having the air piling up. That's where we're going to be having those cumulus clouds becoming mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds. So look out for that afternoon rainfall if you're living in a northern parish. And we know northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. There could be some amount of rainfall over there. And with the upper level winds still coming in tomorrow from the northeast, we might just see something similar to what happened today again. but with more of the rain on the north coast this time. So just like what we see here with the high cold cloud tops being blown off towards the southwest, we could say that again tomorrow, but more of these high cold cloud tops are going to be blown off whenever we get that afternoon thunderstorms across some northern parishes. And regarding the rainfall and where it's expected tomorrow, there is some differences within the Euro and the GFS models. The Euro right here is showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. And we do see the blues represent rainfall all across the island from east to west. The GFS showing something similar, but I'm more inclined to believe that most of the air is going to be piling up across section of northern Jamaica for sure. And then the high cold clouds are blowing all of that off back towards the south and west. So look out for that rainfall. Both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus that rainfall should be across eastern, central, and western Jamaica. But I'm more inclined to believe that it's going to be more so across northern Jamaica during the afternoon. And we can see that even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus about the rainfall expected tomorrow. The Euro right here showing all the way up to 0.48 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS showing all the way up to 0.52 of an inch of rainfall. Keep in mind that both of these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. Not saying that's going to be raining from now all the way up until then, but these are the areas that are going to be picking up rainfall for all the way across the island from east to west. But I'm more inclined to believe that northern Jamaica is going to be receiving most of the rainfall given the low level flow. Either way, we'll take it. We're in the month of October. It's the wettest month of the year for the entire country. In Kingston, whose bar graph is shown right here at the top, we shall receive close to 170 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is shown right here at the bottom, we shall receive 8.5 inches of rainfall. And keep in mind that you can visit weatherandclimate.com to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts the rainfall that we get on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we do see some clouds right here across portion of the Windward Islands, maybe some rainfall affecting portions of Barbados, the waters in and around Trinidad and Tobago, some rainfall as usual across portions of Colombia, section of Venezuela. We can also see some cloud cover across portion of Panama, Costa Rica, western Nicaragua, sections of Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala getting in on the mix as well. Not seeing much taking place across the northeastern Caribbean, but we do see that portions of the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico got in on some afternoon thunderstorms today. So let's take a closer look. So looking at the northeastern Caribbean, we can see that we don't have much in the way of rainfall right now in and around the Leeward Islands. Some rainfall to the south and to the north of Puerto Rico. But if we put these images into motion, we can see that rainfall that affected portion of the Dominican Republic today. We can also see that rainfall that affected portion of Puerto Rico today as well. And see the greens, the yellows, the oranges that affected most areas in Puerto Rico too. And if we take a look at the Barbados radar, as of right now, we can see some rainfall right there to the north of Barbados. Definitely some heavy rainfall affecting the waters right there. We can also make out some rainfall in and around St. Vincent, section of St. Lucia, section of Martinique. So St. Vincent right here, St. Lucia, Martinique getting in on some amount of rainfall. We can see some of that rainfall affecting section of Dominica as well. And we can even make out some rainfall heading into portions of Trinidad too. If we take a look at the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that's already setting the stage across portions of Florida, section of Cuba too. And we can see some isolated shores in and around portions of northeastern Venezuela, section of Colombia, northwestern Venezuela. Some isolated shores to the east, to the far east of Nicaragua. Not seeing much across the Yucatan Peninsula, just some isolated shores right there across Guatemala and the Yucatan right there. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Monday. And we can definitely see that the Euro is a bit robust with the heavy rainfall that's expected across portions of Florida, Not seeing that much like what we see on the Euro with the purples represent up to 3 inches of rainfall. But we do see it right there to the north of the Yucatan. That's where Milton is expected to be within the next 24 hours. You can also make out that there's a lot of rainfalls represented by the reds. That's expected for portion of Cuba, the Bahamas, sections of Jamaica with the greens and the yellows, section of Haiti and the Dominican Republic too. So too, Puerto Rico, sections of the Leeward Islands, anywhere from Antigua and Barbuda southward, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago might get in some of the action. Scrolling down, we also see some rainfall for portions of Guyana's border with Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, section of El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, and the Yucatan as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching.